so today I have swatches of the Orly Breathable Melting Point collection. So there are 6 new polishes here from the Orly Breathable line. This is their spring/summer collection. I will link the Orly website down below because these are available right now. I also have some comparisons at the end, so I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Cesium the Day, and this is described as an optimistic lemon yellow shimmer. Good formula on this one, just a touch patchy on the first coat, but nothing concerning. There are some brush strokes through that shimmer, but they calm down a lot as it dries. And this does dry matte. The shimmer stands out pretty nicely. It can look subtle or really strong, just depending on like what kind of lighting and what angle you're looking at it from. It covered pretty well for me in 2 coats. I could see maybe needing 3 depending on your application, but I was good with 2. So that is 2 coats of Cesium the Day. The next polish is called Erupt To No Good, and this is described as a golden orange shimmer. Hot effing dog, you guys. Look at this. Look at it. This is so bright and so shimmery and so glowy, and that gold shimmer that's in there just like is burning off of my nail. It's so cool. The formula is perfect. Those brush strokes melt in almost completely as it dries. Just good God, look at this. This is even brighter and even better when it builds up on that second coat. It's perfect. It's really honestly just perfect. So that is 2 coats of Erupt To No Good. The next polish is called Having a Smeltdown, and this actually doesn't mention the shimmer at all. It's just described as a turquoise. Great formula on this one. A little more sheer on the first coat than the last polish, but still very even. It has this very neat kind of mermaidy shimmer going on. The brush strokes will melt in a bit as it dries, just like the other ones. This built up totally fine and covered really well for me in 2 coats. It also got much brighter in that second coat as well. There is obviously a bit less contrast to that shimmer, but it still stands out really nicely. So that is 2 coats of Having a Smeltdown. The next polish is called The Floor is Lava, and this is described as an energetic golden pink shimmer, and it also says it was inspired by the flow of a lava lamp, which I think is pretty cool. Good formula on this one. It's decently opaque. It covers very evenly. The shimmer in here is not subtle by any means. You can definitely see it. It's gold, so it contrasts really nicely, but it is subtle just in comparison to Erupt To No Good. It doesn't quite have the same impact. There were really no brush strokes through the shimmer at all, probably because it's a little more subtle and a little bit more broken up, and this did cover completely for me in 2 coats. So that is 2 coats of The Floor is Lava. The next polish is called Glass Act, and I called this Glass Out in the comparison section, so I apologize for that. This is described as an aqua blue shimmer. This was a surprise for me because I would not look at this in the bottle and think that this would really stand out to me at all, but the shimmer in here is amazing. The formula is really good. It covers very evenly. There's practically no brush strokes through that shimmer, but once it's fully dry, the shimmer just really pops out of the polish. It's so much nicer dry than it is when it's wet. This easily covered in 2 coats. The shimmer dried really nice and really smooth. I was very surprised at how much I liked this one. So that is 2 coats of Glass Act. And the last polish is called Alloy Matey. I know that it's alloy, I know the theme of the collection, but I really want to say Alloy Matey, and this is described as a bright purple shimmer. Great formula on this one. This has a very glowy shimmer, so it's less of like a screaming in your face contrasting shimmer like Erupt To No Good, and more of a shimmer that kind of just makes the polish look like it's kind of lit from within. Still contrasting, still standing out nicely, but just a very different vibe. This easily covered in 2 coats, and again, those little tiny minor brush strokes that you really can't even pick out when it's wet completely disappear when it's dry. So that is 2 coats of Alloy Matey, or Alloy Matey. I don't know. I get the pun. I just don't know how I'm supposed to say it. So Cesium the Day I have nothing for. I had mentioned at some point that I kind of like really ruthlessly destashed my Orlys a few years ago, and I don't think it would have affected this too much, but it does make my Orly comparisons a little bit thinner than they should be for how long I've been like reviewing and receiving Orly, but I don't have anything even close to this shade of yellow. I have nothing close to, and that's not even considering the shimmer that's in it, so don't have anything for this one. So for Erupt To No Good, the first one here is Light My Campfire. I thought of this one when I saw Erupt To No Good, and I'm actually happy with how different it was. My memory, I guess, must have been really fuzzy with this. This is a very burnt orange, and it's a burnt orange metallic. The metallic properties to this are not a contrasting shimmer, it's just a burnt orange metallic. This one one here is Dancing Embers. This is definitely more pink and again doesn't have that strong contrasting shimmer. And this one is Follow the Map. This is also a more like faded, muted pinky red with more of a pearl kind of shimmer to it. So it's got that kind of like silvery pearl look to the shimmer, so nothing even remotely close here. So for Having a Smeltdown, this one here is Serves You Right. This is much more sheer and a much lighter color with a bit more of like an aqua shimmer, where the shimmer in Having a Smeltdown almost looks like very greeny blue, if that makes sense, which I guess would also describe aqua, but I don't know, something about this just looks very different. This one here is See You Soon. This is a much brighter, truer blue with a more scattered shimmer. This is The Floor is Lava, and this one here is Hot Tropics. This is a much more purple shade with again a scattered chunkier shimmer to it. So for Glass Out, this first one is Kelly's Solar Flare, and these, it's like if they had taken Kelly's Solar Flare and just cranked the shimmer up to like 11, then they would have been exactly the same. So they're not dupes, they're not close to each other. I mean, they're very like distinct, but I can see where they're in the same family. If we had just added a ton more shimmer, just dumped all the shimmer into Kelly's Solar Flare, I feel like they would look the same. And then this one is You're on Sapphire, which is a deep sapphire blue, so nothing close there. And then here is Alloy Matey. I have Alexandrite by You, which is again kind of in the same family. It's a similar shade of purple, has a similar pinky shimmer, but it just doesn't have the glowiness that Alloy Matey has, or Alloy Matey, whatever, I haven't figured that one out yet. It doesn't quite contrast the same way, and it doesn't have that like glow from underneath the polish like Alloy Matey does. And then this is Kelly's Solar Flare again. I just wanted to throw them together. This comes off much more blue, and obviously the shimmer is very different as well. Erupt To No Good is definitely going to be my favorite. This is amazing. I looked at it in the bottle and I was like, okay, I think this is probably going to be pretty good, but it was so much better on my nails than I could have ever possibly imagined. It is so bright and glowy and the shimmer is so strong. It like almost doesn't even look real. This is by far my favorite. I feel like Orly does, for me anyway, as far as my preferences go, they do better polishes in their breathable line than they do in their regular line. I feel like every time I'm really just like blown away by the color and the finish of an Orly polish, it's almost always a breathable polish. I can't think of, and I could be totally like just misremembering, but I can't think of a regular line Orly polish that has blown me away recently, but I can think of like counting this one like 3 maybe of the breathable polishes. But I get really excited when I hear about a new breathable collection because their colors are always like a lot better. And honorable mention to Alloy Matey also because, or Alloy Matey, because the glow on this is fantastic. So that is the Orly Breathable Melting Point collection. Again, I will link the Orly website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you guys enjoyed this one and I will talk to you later. Bye.